Did you know that your home could be making you sick, lethargic, depressed, enforcing negative beliefs you have about yourself? It's true. My name is Angela Motzi. I'm an architect, feng shui practitioner, and researcher who has spent my whole career studying the science behind design for well being. And this isn't just your home, it's your work, it's any environment that you find yourself in. Now, I don't expect you to have done all the research that I do, so I make thoughtful weekly videos on this channel as part of my Space Doctor series to help you understand and, more importantly, have practical, actionable tips so you can become more aware of how the spaces you are in every day for live, work, and play are impacting you and how you can make changes to improve them even more. We do this using my Salutogenesis card deck, and it has two parts: foundational concepts and the 5 aspects of salutogenesis, which are 5 theories that contribute to how we can encourage well-being in design. So every single week, I pick a card from each part of the deck, and I talk about the 2 theories together. So you're not going to hear everything there is to know. You're going to hear very targeted information that came up this week because it's a collective message we all need to hear. So if you're ready, let's go ahead and get started. The card that I pulled from the foundational concepts part of the deck is neuroplasticity. And you can see here there is an activated brain that is forming all kinds of network connections, because that's what it is. Basically, our brain has the ability to evolve. The neural pathways that get developed get strengthened the more they're used, but new neural pathways can form and old ones can fade away if we don't use them as much. Now, why is this important? Well, because if we have had a negative or a traumatic experience, it's easy for us to keep reliving that. But if we can start to work maybe with a therapist, maybe on our own, to forge new connections, we can over time stop having the same traumatic associations and triggers. We can heal and we can make better conscious choices, form better habits, essentially reset our lives using neuroplasticity to rewire our brains. Now, the companion card that came from the aspects part of the deck is the sanctuary card. And I love this card. This was inspired by a photograph I have of myself at the Delicate Arch at Arches National Park. This was just an amazing experience that I had there. This card is from the prospect and refuge aspect. Prospect and refuge is the earth element in feng shui, and it is associated with stability, predictability, solidness, safety. And sanctuary essentially comes from that same idea of cultivating a safe space for ourselves. The arch is a gateway, and gateways symbolize passing through something better that lies beyond. The mountains in the background represent hardships that were overcome and the perspective that you get in doing that. The purple sky symbolizes spiritual awakening, transformation. So being able to overcome because you feel safe, because you have that ability to heal. Now, In therapy, there's something called the sanctuary model. And this was basically a concept that was developed in the early 1980s by a team led by Dr. Sandra Bloom. And the purpose of it was to promote safety and recovery from adversity through the active creation of a trauma informed community. Now, they recognize that trauma is something that everybody has. Some are the big T traumas, the really horrible events that change the course of your life. But a lot of times we have the little T traumas, things like bullying or verbal abuse, things that we tend to write off that can be just as damaging, maybe even more so because we don't pay attention to them. But if we are going to recover, we have to feel safe. We have a trauma response when we don't feel safe. So it makes sense that recovery would be coming from feeling safe. So, how do we think about this in terms of our spaces? Well, first of all, we want to make sure that we leverage what I call environmental anchors. This is a concept in feng shui where you place objects that have positive associations for you in the space. So it may be a piece of art, it may be a souvenir that you have, a gift from someone special, a motivational a poem, anything that is an affirmation for you. Could be religious symbolism. So you want to make sure, first of all, that there's nothing in your home or workplace or other surroundings that have negative symbols for you. Like, did you get a gift from somebody who's judgmental and you put it out because you feel obligated, but now subconsciously you're getting negative reinforcement? So remove that kind of stuff. Put in place the stuff that makes you safe. Also in feng shui, there are things in our environment that can be subconsciously perceived as threats. So, do you have what is called a projecting corner? So, most corners, like you can see behind me, the actual corner is pointing away from the room. But sometimes in spaces, especially in bedrooms, when they put closets in, the closet pops into the room and creates a projecting corner. Those are called poison arrows in feng shui. That corner is pointing at you if you are sitting in its path, and that can feel threatening. Sharp angles, anything that's sharper than 90 degrees can feel like a poison arrow. So think about if you've got any furniture like that in your space or other objects, and either turn them away from you if it's a place that you commonly sit or your bedroom, or get rid of them if you can. If you cannot do that, if you could place a plant, or you can hang something like a banner, or something soft, fabric art, anything like that in front of the poison arrow, that will neutralize it. But also think about how you can create a sense of shelter. So is there a more enclosed area that you can spend time in when you're trying to relax that will help you to feel safer? Are there places you could go that are your happy place? Like maybe you enjoy walking along the beach or taking a walk through the woods, anything like that. If you don't have access to a space that you find especially soothing, you can imagine it in your mind. You can listen to a meditation. So things like that that are automatically soothing to you will give you a sense of sanctuary. Recognizing whether you need time alone or time in the company of others is another important part of sanctuary. If you don't feel like interacting with others, but you're putting yourself in a social situation, that isn't going to feel soothing or safe. It's going to be exhausting. But if you've spent too much time isolated and you're lonely and you're ruminating, that's not healthy either. So your sanctuary may come from the strength of your community, your social network. Do you need to get out in community more? Think about that. Make sure that your home has a balance of both spaces for entertaining your close friends and family, but also spaces that give you refuge and solitude. You need a balance of both. That's important. If you are going out in public, make sure that you can find both of those kinds of spaces. If you're in the workplace, make sure you have that balance as well. Is there a space you can go and work more privately? Maybe it's a small booth or nook versus having to be in an open office environment or a much more social, collaborative kind of workspace. Give yourself the antidote of both. Give yourself the opportunity to move around, to take breaks, to reset. Those are all important ways of creating that sanctuary. If you are a designer, think about creating a sense of belonging for the people that are going to be using the space. Take time to learn about the culture, the socialization practices, the beliefs, any rituals that are part of using the space, and make sure that you include elements of that. Make sure you are sensitive and using cultural competence. Look for ways to reduce stigma. So maybe we don't mean to, but when we do something like create a tall transaction counter, we're telling somebody that the person behind the counter has power or authority that they don't have. Are we putting up things that make somebody feel shameful or wronged or like they're the problem or they're broken and they need to be fixed? Make sure that you are not reinforcing anything like that. And instead, what is in the environment is flexible and adaptable so that the person can adjust the space to meet their needs. That includes providing more resources. So, can I adjust lighting? Can I adjust sound? Can I go places where I can take, say, a color bath by enjoying setting some LED lights to a color that I prefer and enjoy being in that space? Can I be comfortable? Can I listen to soothing music? Are the lights adjustable? Is the temperature adjustable? All of those things really do provide a lot of resources in the space. And that also, that self-soothing helps to make the space feel safe, feel like a sanctuary. So to put the two cards together and wrap up today, our brains form neural pathways based on experience. Those can be strengthened if we are habitually doing the same activity, whether that activity is positive or negative to us. Traumas form especially strong neural pathways. And in order to counteract that and heal, we need to have sanctuary spaces that feel comforting, that feel safe, and that promote our recovery by having resources within them because those neural pathways can be rewired. That is the hopeful message there. And your space can be your partner in that recovery because it can give you that sanctuary. Thanks so much for listening. Remember to like and subscribe. It is the best way to support this channel. the work that I put into creating these videos for you, and I greatly appreciate it. I will see you next time.